technology innovation that is agile, fast, cost-effective, bureaucracy, and frustration-free? Well, that's certainly not the norm in agriculture today.
But it is exactly how our team at UPL envisions the Open Ag platform of tomorrow.
If you share our passion for ensuring food security for all, you could be part of UPL's mission.
Welcome back, everyone, and thanks so much for joining us for a talk by Adrian Percy of UPL about how the world's largest agricultural businesses need to rethink their research and development models and collaborate with independent inventors. He'll be speaking about the process of bringing sustainable innovations to market. Thank you so much and welcome, Adrian.
Thank you so much, Judith. Very much appreciate it. So hello, everybody. My name is Adrian Percy. I'm a Chief Technology Officer at UPL, and I want to start by asking a question. So can the size of a company ever correlate negatively with its significance? Is there a tipping point when we lose the ability to respond, react, and regenerate? Now, in my view, answering this question is going to define the role of big multinational agriculture in decades to come. And we're going to come back to that question in a moment. Could I have the next slide, please? So before that, I want to thank all of you for attending this session. This conference could not have come at a better time as we gather here to reflect and share ideas in what may well be the eye of this present storm. One of the most noticeable early signs of disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic was seen on our supermarket shelves. So I've seen, examples here in North Carolina where I'm based of going for weeks without some basic necessities like tinned tomatoes and dried pasta. But the weaknesses in our food system existed well before this crisis. Some as part of nature's own cycle, and some as part of our own creation. Now, the Financial Times has led some insightful and compelling conversations on the stresses under which the food system has been placed. And I believe our role in the business of agriculture is to respond to these stresses with positive, transformative action. So in our exploration of a new model that champions resilience over efficiency, we need to look at where innovation, progress, and traditional working patterns for agriculture have been weak to. This is the focus of our short time together today. Could I have the next slide? Now, some of you may not be familiar with UPL, and others may know us more for the work that we have led over the last 50 years from India and in the traditional agri-input space. But today, UPL has emerged as a global provider of sustainable agricultural products and solutions. We're one of the top 5 agricultural companies worldwide, leading with biologicals and traditional crop protection solutions. And with a presence in more than 130 countries, we reach more than 90% of the world's food basket. And I look around and think, if we aren't meeting this challenge head on, then who will? We just don't have here an opportunity, but we actually have a responsibility to change the game. Throughout our history, UPL has always been committed to sector-wide collaboration, which has never been more important for meeting the unique and multifaceted challenges that we're facing in agriculture today. And collaboration is what I'd like to focus our conversation today and the role that it must play in changing our innovation model for the future. Next slide, please. Now, there used to be an idea that origination and innovation came from big companies. Think of the music industry or pharmaceutical sector. The sort of equipment, knowledge, and expertise to record an album or lead lab tests for a new medicine required scale. But it also can close the door on many potential innovators and innovations who don't have access to these particular resources. And at the same time, scale can breed complacency, bureaucracy, and hesitation. And these are not words that inspire confidence, especially at a time when the challenges facing world food systems are so acute. So I believe our industry, our food production systems, need a shakeup. UPL's approach is 50% nature and 50%, we hope, great business sense. And at UPL, we've always borrowed our best ideas from nature, and collaboration is no different. The collaboration model is one of the oldest and most robust models on the planet. For millions of years, even the most complex ecosystems have found ways to work together, solve problems, and thrive for mutual benefits. We just happen to call it symbiosis. Next slide, please. Now, some call this the era of open innovation. Others have held the role of co-creation in transforming research and development. But at UPL, collaboration has been at the heart of our work for over 50 years. And now we are recentering the business around this idea so that we can continue to adapt, learn, grow, and innovate for the next 50 or more. Now, when the UPL and Arista Life Sciences joined forces in 2018, the experience and approach of the two companies complemented each other so well that we decided to create a new purpose that reflected our aspirations for a new approach to world agriculture. We call it Open Ag. Simply defined, Open Ag is an agricultural network that feeds sustainable growth for all, no limits, no borders. It is a new model that brings together all the different players in the food system, from farmers to producers to consumers, in the spirit of collaboration to change the way the whole industry thinks, works, and evolves, opening it all up to new ideas, new techniques, new goals, and new solutions. So led by our Open Ag purpose, we are reshaping the research, development, and innovation model within Ag to overcome the challenges of resource scarcity and food security. But you might be sitting there thinking, okay, Adrian, this all sounds great, but every industry, every company is trying to recreate itself and making bold promises around innovation. And I completely agree with you. Innovation is not just about aspiration, but also about action. So today I'm going to share with you some of the progress we've made through Open Ag and give you some tangible examples from across our global business. Next slide, please. So it takes 20,000 litres of water to produce 1 kilogram of cotton and 500 litres of water to produce 1 kilogram of potato. Many of the areas that we rely on for food and cash crops are some of the most vulnerable to climate change, which means the way we use and think about water is going to have to change dramatically. We need applications and treatments not only to work in perfect collaboration with the crops and plants they support, but to adapt to volatile weather conditions so that crops achieve as close to their biological potential as possible, regardless of the weather. We have developed Zeba, our soil enhancement technology, which acts like a super sponge, absorbing up to 400 times its weight in water so that it can retain and then re-release that water in the root zone when the plant needs it most. And we're working with farmers across many countries of the globe, for example, with cocoa farmers in the Côte d'Ivoire, to bring more resiliency in their production practices. Next slide, please. So UPL also has a particular interest in technology innovation. In the developing world, farmers face numerous challenges from erratic climates, the rising cost of inputs, inadequate access to markets, and lack of finances. Although there have been lots of amazing innovations across the agricultural industry in the last decade, many are niche and highly specific, and often their impact is not diverse nor long-lasting. These host of challenges that farmers face cannot be solved by a single solution or a single actor, and they require a multi-pronged, farmer-centric approach orchestrated by players across the agricultural space in order to sustainably support them through the entire farming life cycle. Now, UPL is working on the development of a new full-service model delivered via a centralized digital platform for every step of the farming cycle, leveraging our deep and diverse partnerships across the agricultural landscape. Nurture Farm looks at the inputs, the outputs, and all of the enablers in between, offering a comprehensive package of solutions from access to products, technology and services, financial support, and market linkages. Next slide, please. Now, weeds and insects are becoming increasingly resistant to chemical treatments and inputs. And at the same time, growers want greater predictability and efficiency in the way they farm. The problem is magnified when invasive species migrate from one continent to another, leaving a crop protection vacuum that can have a lasting impact on security. Now, I mentioned to you that UPL takes many of our best ideas from nature, and in this case, we also learned a lot from the very pests we are trying to tackle. So fall armyworm arrived in Africa from the Americas in around 2016, and in the time since has been responsible for about $5 billion worth of food losses at the farmer level every year. So we've just announced our partnership with an Australian agtech company to distribute across the entire African continent the first ever biological tool designed specifically to tackle fall armyworm. It's called Fallogen, and it's a baculovirus. In other words, a naturally occurring pest control product that allows the preservation of biodiversity and plant health by also allowing the beneficial insects to thrive. Now, these technologies have been created with the needs of the smallest farmer in mind and developed to have the greatest possible impact. But that's only possible if we start the conversation in the field as much as in the lab. Next slide, please. So I want to return to the question I asked at the beginning about scale being a deterrent to innovation. So in my view, it's been clear across multiple industries in the past decade or so that scale has lost a lot of its utility for transformation. And when you get to a certain size, I think it's true to say that perspectives change completely. We aren't looking at the world saying we want to be part of something bigger. We're saying actually we want to be part of something smaller. And ideas, discoveries, designs that not only originate from the small farmer, but are applicable to the smallholder farmer. So when we think about today's topic and how we need to rethink R&D to catalyze sustainable technologies and innovations, of course, we want to offer a solution. At UPL, this commitment is being lived as we speak, a renewed commitment to innovation, disruption, creativity, and talent nurturing through the launch of the first ever purpose-driven, globally facing R&D hub, the Open Ag Center. The Open Ag Center opened its doors earlier this year in Research Triangle, North Carolina, where I'm based, and is the new home for some of what we hope will be some of the most exciting, impactful technologies that will help define the future of agriculture. It's designed to get innovations into farmers' hands faster by providing an end-to-end approach. So we provide a hands-on approach to evaluating many new technologies in a very short and efficient time span, and looking at it with a fresh pair of eyes. We're looking to replace the red tape and challenges experienced at traditional large agricultural organizations with a lot more agility and flexibility. We're also looking to leverage our global footprint and our regulatory platform and expertise, as well as various development field stations that we have spread across the world, in order to fast-track promising innovations from the idea to deployment as quickly and as efficiently as possible. And we have a team of expert scientists who are already working on more than 100 projects at this Open Ag Center, and we have the capacity to double that over time. Next slide, please. So the remodeling of research and development is as much a remodeling of the purpose of agriculture. So before the close of this century, 11 billion people on our planet will need to eat 33 billion meals per day. How will we feed the world as the population gets bigger and our resources become scarcer? In my view, collaboration is the only answer. So we're looking to open the doors to Open Ag and look forward to working with you, many of you, on reshaping world's food systems and delivering on our mission to change the game and making every single food product more sustainable. So if you're an innovator with a disruptive technology or simply have an idea and would like to start a discussion, please reach out to us through our new Open Ag Center online portal. And the person from UPL who's best equipped to connect with you will be in touch very quickly to learn how we can potentially partner together. So thank you so much for your attention. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much, Adrian. It was particularly interesting to hear your examples of innovation in practice. And just to let our audience know, if you have a look at UPL Sponsor Hub within the FT event platform, you can find contact details for questions or follow-ups. To all of our delegates, we'll be back in 10 minutes when my colleague Clive Cookson will be interviewing the scientist and entrepreneur Maria Carvella, whose company maps genetic traits onto individual food and drink ingredients. We'll hear about how this may help to tackle chronic conditions like obesity and type 2 diabetes. So thank you again, Adrian, and all of our audience. See you soon.